Hi guys, it's Lanikia and coming to you with another episode of Manifest. It is season 1, episode 4 called Unclaimed Baggage, and I'm so happy we are finally caught up. I'm caught up with everything. This episode actually came on last night, so I'm getting to do it tonight. Whew. We're caught up, so now we can just do it week by week going forward. Okay. So this time the story is about the flight attendant. So I'm thinking that they're going to have a few, of course they're going to have a few episodes, but each episode is going to be about a different person off the plane. So I'm thinking maybe this is like a 20 episode season or something like that. Because that's how many, wasn't it like 20 people that were, it might be a 22 episode season. Because there was 20 people that went to the the flight that night when it blew up. So if they're doing every episode, about somebody off the plane, then I'm excited about that because this is my time of year. I love when the shows come back on like this. Anyways, so it's about the black flight attendant. Her name is Bethany, and we find out that so the pilot goes to her and he tells her they're diverting us and it's going to be police and everything. He doesn't know what's going on. And so she's afraid because she has something hidden on the plane. We don't know what it is at this point, but we know she has something because she goes to her bag and she's very nervous. Now Sanvi, she's walking down the hallway and she sees something. She sees wet footprints, and so she's like, "What is going on?" And when she turns around, there's a woman who's dripping in water and everything. So of course this freaks her out, and she asks her friend about the psych doctor to go, if he's still in the building, and the friend tells her yes. So then we go to Ben, who he and Grace are excited because Cal is with their grandpa. Olive is supposed to be in school, is going to be in school, so they got some time alone in the house, just the two of them. And then Olive is bummed because her granddad is teaching her how to drive, but he wants to spend another day with Cal. And I guess they're at a lake or something like that. He wants to spend another day with Cal. So Ben is like, "Oh, I'll teach you," and Olive pretty much just blows him off. So teenagers. So then Michaela and Jared have to work together. So Harrington was supposed to work with Michaela, but they said his pipe burst or something. So Jared is going to be working with her. So Jared is I don't know. Jared and Michaela are kind of awkward about having to work with each other, so we think, because it's just awkward between the two of them. But let's move on. So Sanvi finds out that there's a patient. She pretends that the MRI results and everything are not hers, that they're of one of her patients. And so the doctor she's speaking to says, "Oh, they matched that of this homeless man who is has schizophrenia." And so they put it up, and she was like, "So you're saying my patient has that?" And he was like, "Well, they are very similar, but his is more advanced than hers." So of course this worries Sanvi a lot. So as she's leaving out, there's the patient, which is the homeless man. He jets out of the room and he goes directly to her, and he said it was the flight attendant. It was the flight attendant. And of course she knows what he means, because she was on that flight. So then we go to Grace, who receives a letter from the insurance company. And so that's all they show. They just show her receiving a letter from the insurance company. So then we go back to Sanvi, who is talking to Ben, and she tells him about Bethany, the flight attendant, and everything she's found as far as their brains and everything, what she thinks is going on. And he tells her, and he has everyone's information. So she was like, "I don't have Bethany's information," but he gives it to her so that she can talk to Bethany, the flight attendant, to find out what exactly is going on with her visions and everything. Now, do y'all think they're going to get Ben and Sanvi together? I think so. I think by the end of this season, I don't know. I think by the end of this season, two things. I'm thinking either Grace is going to leave Ben for Danny, and he's going to be devastated, which drives him to the arms of Sanvi for comfort. Or he's going to try to make it work with Grace, and then you know how they have this. All of a sudden, he looks at Sanvi, and it's so different and everything. I think so, y'all. I don't know. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's what's gonna happen in this episode. In this, so then, um, Jared and Mick are on their stakeout because they have to do this stakeout together because Harrington was supposed to do it, but remember his pipe busted. So Jared and Mick are doing it, and they're talking about all of a sudden it went from something that was going to be short to now it's going to be hours. And so they're talking about what to eat, and he was like, I remember you like Italian. So then they start talking about their favorite Italian restaurant. And then once they start doing that, a little flirting. Y'all know how they be flirting. That little flirtatious thing went down and everything, and it was awkward because he's married. Like they're supposed to be together, but he's married to your best friend, so y'all can't do this. So then he leaves because it's awkward, and he leaves to get some coffee. And when he's gone, she looks at his phone. We'll find out what happened later. So then Grace tells Ben to go home. When he was with Sanvi, she told him to come home. So he makes it home, and it's a letter from the insurance company. And apparently, while he was gone, of course, they thought he was dead. So she got the insurance reward, and she was trying to stay afloat. And so when she got the money, she was happy to get the money, and it ended up being $500,000. So it was $500,000. And he was like, cool. How much is left? And she was like, nothing. Like, I did the mortgage, I paid hospital bills, like she spent the money. And I don't think she spent it in a bad way, because she doesn't seem like that a frivolous person. Like she paid bills, and their son was sick, so those bills might have been more expensive. She paid off the mortgage, and she started a business, so it's just she spent the money. And so Ben tells her, don't worry about it. You got me now, and we'll figure this out together. So Olive then we show Olive with one of her friends, and she has on makeup. She's wearing makeup, and she looks really pretty. So she asked the lady, how much is this lipstick she had on, because it was a really pretty lipstick, and the woman said $120. And her friend is like, well, why don't you just get it? Don't you get an allowance? And she was like, her mom has been forgetting to give her allowance or whatever. And so her friend is just talking it up, and then they decide to leave. But as they're leaving, Olive swipes the lipstick, but she didn't get away with it. Like, sis, you didn't even do it right. Like, look around to see if somebody's watching you. So she swipes the lipstick, and a security guard happens to see her, so she's in trouble. She got caught. So we get back to Michaela and I've been calling Michaela. So we get back to Michaela and Jared, and we find out that Harrington was the one who texted Jared on his phone, and he was thanking him for tickets. So we find out Harrington did not have a busted pipe. Jared wanted to be in this squad car with Michaela, and because he said she needs to protect her because she's acting weird, which she is, or whatever. So he feels like he has to protect her, and she won't tell him what's going on. So then, while he's telling her she needs to tell him, she sees the vision of the angel who tells her, help him, save him. So she's thinking they're talking about this ATF agent that's undercover. That's what they're at the stakeout for, to help this ATF agent undercover. So she thinks his cover has been blown, and she's telling Jared, we gotta go in there. They bust in there, and that ATF agent was just fine. They were the ones who blew his cover, so now they're in trouble. But Jared takes the rap for it. So then we find out that the homeless man, his Thomas, he was a stowaway. So Bethany, the flight attendant, was helping him because he was in love with her cousin Leo, but it was dangerous in Jamaica because they were gay. And they had spoke out about an attack on another gay man. I believe they had spoke out on the news, so they were in danger. And so her cousin had, was able to get on the plane. Her cousin was able to get out. because he had a ticket, but Thomas was not. So she took Thomas as a stowaway so that Thomas could get out because he was in danger. So they try to figure out. So Bethany and Sunvi are like, okay, well, how can we help him? Because they think Thomas is crazy because he was a stowaway. So they don't realize that he was on the plane. So they think he's crazy when he's like, it was 5 years ago. It's 5 years now. He's thinking back 5 years ago, and it's reality. So they're doping him up, putting him on all these drugs, just thinking he's crazy, and he's not. So Ben is trying to figure out how to come up with the money. So as he's figuring it out, he sees a box. And the box has like mementos with Grace and Danny, which, hide that box better. Like, what are you doing? But it has mementos with Grace and Danny. And once again, he sees something. Instead of just confronting Grace about it and just like letting her know it bothered him to see that, they hide everything. I can't with them. So then Olive called, they're going upstairs. They're having a little romantic moment or whatever. And because he's figured out how they can pay off their debt or whatever and not get in trouble. So then Olive calls her mom. She leaves a voicemail, and Grace was like, she sounds upset. She wants me to come pick her up. And Ben was like, oh, I'll go do it. So that's that. He goes to pick her up. So on the way, Mick calls Ben, and she tells Ben that Jared is in trouble, and she feels like she needs to tell him what's going on because he's about to lose his career, and it's because of her. But Ben is like, no, Mick, you can't tell him anything. Don't tell that man anything. They already think we're crazy. The more people you tell, the more people that then they'll have to lie. No, it's enough people that knows, and it really is. So when Ben gets there to pick up Olive, the makeup artist who was doing Olive's hair, and she don't like Olive now, but she was doing Olive's makeup, not hair. She tells Ben, oh, I thought her dad was already here, because Olive has called Danny, and I was like, oh, she's such a brat. Like, there was no reason for you to call Danny, especially if you had already called your mama. What you calling him for? But whatever. So then Danny is like, he leaves or whatever because you're not needed. Her real dad is here. So then Danny leaves, and that's that. So Ben and Olive are driving home, and he remembers, he has a flashback until when, they were young. She was younger, and that they they made a plane and they flew it, and someone ran it over with a bike, and then they let it drift, and he was like, you didn't know you made it with a boat. But it was like it changed, and he just remembered, her being young then, and she was just telling him, you're the best dad ever, you figure everything out. She was just, what a 10-year-old who loves their daddy or whatever, daddy's little girl or whatever. So then Jared tells Michaela she needs help. He was like, you need help because I know something's going on, so you need to talk to somebody. So Jared is suspended because he took the rap for blowing the ATF's agent's cover. So he's suspended, but he's telling Michaela, if you're not going to tell me what's going on, you need help. You need to tell someone. So then, and so she says, yeah, I do know someone I need to tell, because Ben has told Michaela that Sunvi had a vision of an angel, and Michaela told him that she had a vision of an angel, and that's why Jared was in all the trouble. So he's saying that y'all need to connect. Ben had told her y'all need to connect. So now Jared is saying you need to talk to someone, and she was like, well, I need to talk to, in her mind, she's like, I need to talk to Sunvi to see what this vision is about. So Ben and Olive bond because he tells her about stealing a boomerang when he was young, and that his mama just told him you only get one free pass, everyone gets a free pass. And so she was like, I don't deserve a free pass or whatever. And so I guess Olive has been very bad, and so she goes to her dad and she's crying and everything, and they have a nice little bonding moment, because she said Danny knows that she's bad, but Ben still thinks of her as this innocent 10-year-old, and she didn't want him to see her in that light. And so he's like, he loves the 15-year-old that she is now. It was just a cute little moment. But he agrees not to tell Grace about her shoplifting. So then Sanvi and Bethany try to get to Thomas before he gets out of the hotel, because they figured out a way to get him. So they're gonna pretend that Bethany is Thomas's mother, and so Sanvi has these release papers and she gives them to the nurse, and the nurse is like, okay. Well, at first the nurse questioned it, but Sanvi put on a little pressure, and the nurse was like, okay, it's fine. But as they're going to release him, the alarm sounds and Thomas has escaped. And of course Detective Nelson has come up because he wants Thomas or whatever. So then they go out. So Bethany and Sanvi go outside to try to search for Thomas, and Michaela happens to pull up at that exact moment, and they jump in the car with her. And they realize, I'm just going to finish this story out. So they realize that the angel they've been seeing is something they've both been seeing. And Bethany realizes why they've been seeing it is because Leo and Thomas were supposed to, I guess, meet at this place. Or it's something like that. They were supposed to meet there. And so that's where they realized Thomas went. So they find Thomas there, and they let him know, you're not crazy. We've all experienced that from being on the plane. And they're like, we got to get out of here because Nelson from the NSA is on our tails, and we got to get him safe. So Michaela puts them in an abandoned warehouse that Kelly had. That's where she puts Thomas and everything, so that he can be safe. So she's hiding a fugitive because he's a fugitive now, because they want him, the NSA. And everyone, I guess, to question him. But so they hide Thomas in the boiler room in Kelly's old building, and nobody's gonna be going there. So then Ben finds out they're doing it because he calls Michaela, and so he finds out, and he tells her it's a bad idea. They're in too deep, and she said, and he was like, you gotta stop listening to the voices, and she's like, what if the voices don't let me? Like, what if the voices don't let us stop listening? Because it's like they don't have a choice. Like, and he knows it when the voice kept compelling him on the first episode to set them free. So he knows, like, when the voices tell you or they're giving you visions, they really don't have a choice until they figure out what the visions and everything is supposed to be. So then we see Jared is starting to investigate Michaela. So he's got it all written down. Every weird thing that she's been doing, he's got it all written down. So he's starting to investigate her, and because he's trying to find out what is going on. And we see that Grace comes in, and she's upset because Danny has told her that Olive shoplifted. And so Ben is like, what you doing talking to Danny? Like, why are you talking to Danny? And she was like, he was concerned about Olive or whatever. And so Ben finally realizes what we said last week, that it's not fair that, he knows she was with Danny. That was her life. Her life had moved on. And his, just because his was there 5 years ago where they were married, she might not be there. And he realizes that now. And I think he realizes that he should give her some space, give her some time. So I don't know what's going to happen with that, but we'll see. But anyways, that was the episode, y'all. Let me see what time it is. It's 8:33. I have enough time to do This Is Us, do a video, then go to bed. Okay, so that was the episode, y'all. It was really short. I don't know. The episodes are good. I don't know. It's not what I've been expecting. Like, I thought it was going to be more, I don't know. It's not that I'm not I still like the show, but it's starting to be not quite what I was expecting. But then again, I don't really know what I was expecting. Like, it's a new show. I don't know. It's just I don't know. I'll have to see. Like, I thought it was going to be more information about the shadow and what's compelling them to do this. They, like, you figure out a little piece every time. And it's like it's also broken up. I guess that's what it is. It's also broken up into pieces and everything, and each week they try to tie it in just by saying, oh well, we're on this plane and we're hearing these voices. So I don't know, I'm still gonna continue to watch, and I hope this isn't one of those shows that I started watching thinking it was one thing, and then slowly I get out of it, because like the last, maybe it's because I've watched them back to back to back to back, but this episode was like the last episode. I kind of felt like it was a filler. This episode, it almost felt like a filler as well. Like I don't know. I don't know what I'm expecting. I don't know what I want. Y'all tell me what you think. Maybe I'm just overthinking it. But on a scale of 1 to 10, I would give this like a 6. It's okay. I would have liked to see it be more about Bethany. Since she was, since we knew she was on the plane, I would have liked to see it be more about Bethany. I don't know. So, yeah, that y'all tell me what you think, and I hope you enjoyed the rest of your night. We're finally caught up, y'all. I'm so happy. Now I gotta catch up on